Hi, I'm Dave Epstein and welcome to this edition of Growing Wisdom. We're here today at Barry's Greenhouse in South Natick, Massachusetts, and we're going to talk about some of the plants that do quite well in shady conditions. So if you've been watching Growing Wisdom for a while, we've been doing a few episodes now at the wholesaler. We're at Barry's Greenhouse, and one of the reasons I've chosen to be here, this is kind of our studio today, is because we have a lot of different plants to choose from. So what I want to do is start here in the begonia house. We've got a lot of begonias. These are Solenia or Solenia begonias, and these are a really great plant for containers. This is a cross between tuberous begonias and wax begonias. It's mildew resistant. It can handle a little more sun than some of the other begonias. It's more wind resistant, and it flowers these amazing colors. So I want to start there and show you some of the great colors, and then we're going to move on to some other spots around the area and show you some other wonderful plants you can look for at your favorite gardening center. So one of the things about shady containers or shady areas of the garden, they may need a little bit less water because they're not getting as much sunshine, so don't overwater those areas. The other thing about shady areas is there's different types of shade. There's very dense shade, say under a hemlock tree where it gets very little light. Even a flowering plant that is shade tolerant probably won't do as well as an area that has more dappled shade. Shady can also mean 1, 2, 3, even up to 4 hours of sun as opposed to 4 to 6, which is part sun, part shade. You get over 6 hours, you're generally in full sun in terms of your plant material. So let's start with some of these begonias. I'll show you some of the wonderful colors, and then we'll move on to some of the other plants tolerant of shade. So here we have Solenia Red Imp, and notice the red, it really pops. And remember, the qualities of this particular begonia, it's going to handle a little bit more sunshine than some of the other begonias you might be used to, but the color is fantastic, and the flowers are much larger than some of the other begonias. We'll show you the smaller one in a second. So if you don't like red, how about this dark pink? Same variety of begonia, but of course it's got that great pink color and that's nice double flower. So you know, the Begoniaceae family has 1,500 species worldwide. So we're just showing you a small subsection. A lot of those species are uncultivated, but here's one called the Amstel Begonia. We're looking at the yellow right now. This begonia, little less floriferous, but still a lot of flowers. This particular variety does a little better than the Solenia begonia we showed you earlier. So the tuberous begonias are also interesting because of the leaf color. So a lot of the tuberous begonias have darker leaves or even multicolored leaves, and some folks just like growing begonias for the foliage, even though, as you can see there in the background, there's plenty of color as well. So begonias also make great hanging basket fillers or spillers. They'll tend to spill over a little bit and really add that color to a hanging basket like this. You can see a little potato vine in there as well, and we've got this nice foliage plant as a nice tall plant in the middle. Nice hanging basket for you. So here we've got about 200 to 300 containers of Japanese forest grass or Hakanakloa grass, and this is another one of those plants that you would grow for the foliage. The grass is this wonderful yellow striped color. It moves in the wind, and it makes a great filler in a container or also a focal point right in the landscape. So one of the things we're looking at now is Terenia, and I really like this plant. A few years ago, some of the traditional impatiens had a disease, so a lot of growers started growing more Terenia because it is so floriferous. It does do really well in the shade, and it has a lot of different colors of the flowers. So you have some flowers which have a little purple and a little white and pink, so depending on your palate, there's probably a Terenia that's right for you. So the final plant I want to show you, the idea here again is shade. This is a New Guinea Patient. Notice the white flowers. White really does brighten a shady corner of the yard. So as you've just seen, just because you don't have a lot of sun doesn't mean you can't have a lot of color or lots of pops in the garden. Find that plant that will do well without a lot of sunshine. Those plants will thrive and give you a lot of pleasure all gardening season long. Some of them you can even bring inside. For Growing Wisdom, I'm Dave Epstein.